So I'm definitely rusty on this, but I'm just trying to do a diagram. And then the vortex. So somehow, this is the electric magnetic field all around here. It's all there is. The feminine and the masculine charge. So somehow the pull of this vortex spirals down to the center, pulls in charged potential from these plasmoids, which are sentient plasma. And since this is a field of information as well as potential, we call this the Akashic field, or the fundamental field of consciousness, or the ether, or black matter. And then there's all these little points of charge of electricity, and it doesn't become electromagnetism until there is that combination, that dynamic that occurs from increased charge and then spin, and then it creates the torsion field. And then we have a closed loop system that sustains upon itself, feeding on itself, expanding and contracting at the same time. They have something called redshift, blue shift, that they say measures the, measures the distance, whether one of these plasmoids or stars or whatever you want to call them are moving farther away or coming closer in, at which speed. But I actually don't think there is any distance happening. It's the pulsing of this, all these little nodes on every single layer. This whole thing is pulsing back and forth, negative, positive charge, red shift, blue shift, constantly. And that's where you get the duality and the polarity. And so as the vortex hyperbola of the torus spins, and then there is this place of inertia of rest on the outer circumference of this is more and more etheric the more outward you go, and the more inward you go into the plane of inertia here is the most dense. So it goes from density to non-density. Okay, so this is creation. This is getting into, now the creation is going to happen from what it's begotten from. So whatever formed this closed loop system had its intentions, it had its understanding, its gnosis of the way things unfold, the programming, the coding, how things are designed, how the spirit comes in and intertwines with DNA in a form and then becomes an animating force of that physicality. All that stuff is programmed into this, and then everything that bubbles outward from the central point of creation carries the same signature of the creator of this thing. So there's a creator, could be a thought, it could be a charge, it could be an energy, a vibration, a certain frequency. And then within this, because it's spinning and charging and feeding itself, it's like a nuclear reactor. It has a lot of power in there. And it creates smaller torus fields inside the larger. So there's nesting. And that happens in several ways. Let's see if I can. So like the Russian nesting dolls, or the everlasting gobstoppers from Willy Wonka. This is the center, the singularity point in the middle. And these are all the bandwidths of different frequencies that go from more dense to less dense. And then within the system, smaller yet powerful torus field plasmoids formulate and have their own vibration, their own frequency. So this whole thing has a frequency, and then the smaller torus fields within it that you could call the things that are cycling around in the sky, or the stars, or the luminaries or the planets that are going around. And they're all sounding their frequency like this. The frequency is just going off in here in this closed loop system. Let me back up. So the frequency here is just going off in this closed loop system. And it's got a lot of charge. This is the vortex that pulls down into, this would be like the black hole. And then spirit gets sucked in, down into the most dense part of it in the center. And then because of all of these frequencies, the main frequency, all the frequencies of the luminaries,
everything inside itself. We are a part of the earth. Now, when people pass away, there have been lots of reports throughout time that people see orbs of light leaving the chest of the body, or the heart, or on the head, or a rainbow light body. There have been lots of examples of people in hospice that see people passing away and they see a light body leaving as they die. That light body is your plasma self, your light self, leaving the Earth's creation's interface that you came into to experience through your interface perceptually reality. And because in the paper that they talk about UAPs and plasmoids, how they go around and collect more charge to grow, to help them grow. They go and collect electromagnetic charge. And that's why you can see a lot of plasmoids and stuff in military bases or around thunderstorms, because they're trying to harness and take in more energy so they can become creators. So they can not only be created, then they can start creating like the earth did. And the earth, I think, created itself, grew itself, and it also grew everything inside of it that it needs to sustain the realm and to meet its sort of harmony. All the luminaries, the stars, the bioluminescence, the charge capacity to come in, it pulls in more light It's like with, Harold and his remembrance of before he came into this realm, looking down through the tunneling vortex down into the black bubbling goo with all the lights. That is the reflection of the out and the in, the dielectric core, reflecting the bioluminescence of the light charge that's all around the field. And when a light body gets here, it gets sucked down into the dielectric core, into the black, the rupus negra, the axis mundi, the central core, the black hole sun of the Earth's body. And that spirit then is woven into the biology interface of the creations within the Earth. And whatever that plasmoid decides the light body to be born into, it comes down in and is born within. And so the light is helping to animate the physiology, and also it helps to maintain the connection, the Ethernet connection, as a separate node. It gives the illusion of separation, but you're still connected because you are light. And so, but you can maintain your light body's integrity through the life of the interface and leave the body afterward. And that has to do with charge, your double layer of charge.
Okay, and so I probably should have started with this one, but this is an example of the great rays and how it all begins. So where that this is, people like to say that this is mom. Some people who are paternalistic will say this is pa or dad or the one, right? But I don't believe that this is the one. I just wrote this because this is what is said in the literature. What I believe is this is me. This is mom. And once we realize this is where we want to go, that's where we'll go. And so the circle again is the external wall, is the external unit, the one cause manifested or harnessed in a boundary, a circle or cycle of walls, right? Whereby there is a zero and it got caught in a boundary. So this being here wants to radiate everywhere, but it was given a boundary because it stepped out. Okay. So what they say is if this is mom, then steam is released from here as a spewing, or someone say it's a dad and he's seeding. So you could look at this either way. It could be both, right? And then what happens is you become dual. So you become two. Then there's another one of these circles, which I should have drawn here as an overlap. And sometimes we'll see that as the seed of life, right? Where we could see this circle overlapping with this one. And then we get this vesica in the middle. You see this vesica in the middle? So we'll see that. That's what we would have seen had I had another circle right here. Then you see this vesica right here, right? I didn't draw that. So then when we go to the 3, then we see the 3, 6, and the 9, the first triangle, but we're still caught in a boundary. This is what life is. This is the tutelage. This is the descent, okay? And so it's the power of the triangle. It's balance created out of the one, or the one, whatever we want to call that, the one. I like to say mom, and then one. That's how I like to see it. One, I stepped over there. And this would be a part of the vesica, okay? And so when you take the 2 triangles at the bottom, that's balance to create the child, okay? And then so this represents spirit, mind, body, spirit, soul, body, salt, sulfur, mercury. If you're looking at the Philosopher's Stone, mother, father, child. Okay, it's expressing the generative and regenerative systems of the body. Okay, it's showing the threefold path: philosopher, priest, soldier, the occultist, the mystic path, or the path of service, right? According to those 3. the 3 Kabbalic worlds, the triple crown of the Magus, or the Magi, heaven, earth, hell, brain, earth, or heart, sorry, and generative system. All right. Pointed upwards, the triangle is the ascent. Pointing downwards, the triangle is the descent. You get it? Again, this is saying we're only talking about energy. We're talking about energy in terms of how it flows and why it matters. So why does it matter? Because somebody knows using these symbols, someone knows how to arrange numbers, names, letters, anything pretty much, solfeggios, anything on here to be used in the reality to harness energy, to give you a boundary, because we are limitless. And then when you're given a boundary that gives you an identity or a name or a mode of using a tool, such as if you can notice that there's a lot of circles in the world, such even that Pythagoras came up with the circle of fifths, right? Using the count of 12 notes. But who's to say that's correct? That came from him. He also came up with Pythagorean theorem, right? And the Platonic solids. So who's to say that that's what the true reality is? Maybe all of that is painting out or pointing out an artificial matrix, a PlayStation, an Xbox, a game where we're given a boundary and let's see what you can do with it. And so like how I like to balance that out is, if we're given a boundary, okay, is this like Monopoly? You know, like, what is this? How can I realize like all of this? Because we can look at cubes, we can look at magic cubes, we can look at cards, we can look at numerology. And basically when you look at these things, you'll find your name and you'll find your number, and it'll be so similar to who you are, who you've been, and how your behavior has been. It is because these boundaries can be used to bring energy in and also keep energy out, such that if you were to recreate this using stone, or use stone blocks or actual on the ground and carve it, then you can create protective barrier. It's just so much you could do with it. And so I'm not saying that we should play with this. I'm saying realize this. So when we realize that, then it becomes like, okay, yeah, I can be everything then. If this is just an artificial boundary, this isn't real. This is the illusion that I'm a 3, right? That I'm just a 3, not just, because it's great. And what does the 3 represent? The 3, who are those angels? Who is those seraphim? Who are my ancestors who were 3? What is it saying to me? What is it doing to my DNA? Who am I really? If this is a game and these are boundaries, and this is a wall, and this is a structure that harnesses energy, what's in here with me? What's outside here? And how do I get out of this boundary? How do you get out of this boundary? It's for us to realize we're talking about energy. And to implode in the center of this vortex, there's that page. The very next one. How did I miss it? Nope. Yeah. To implode inside of here, inside the center of yourself, is bliss. Is to meditate or to sit still. Is to breathe. Is to cycle this energy. Is to acknowledge everything. And be zero. Be at the 0 point of yourself. Where it is right now, but we'll just do it here. It's probably in the back of this. So basically, I drew out the the cube. So how to take a circle to a cube. I drew out the the cube in the way that we see it normally. Then I drew it like this to get it in the angle that I wanted to go, and then I flipped it so that you could see the numbering and how it looks like a hexagon, but also a circle. And also how it encodes an infinity sign by looking at this here. This. Infinity. And this is basically a vortex of time, infinity. And again, it encodes all the sixes. This is going to make sense for you soon, okay? The Saturn's cube here, because you're going to probably think, why do I care? How does this matter? It matters. Because when you look at this structure, just remember this structure, this structure, this structure. Because on the next page, I'm going to show you. But again, I showed you the other numbers and the other groupings. Let me show you those again. The natural groupings for a cube are these. So the last one we did was the 3, 6 to 9. For the Saturn cube that's being built and used to harness certain energies, it begins with 4. And it doesn't follow that order of natural sequentials, because this is 5, then this is like 3. So what is this? And then they go to the 3, the 5, the 7, the 8, the 1, the 6. It doesn't follow natural pattern. And when you add it up, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. And here's the math. 4 plus 9 plus 2 equals 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. 3 plus 5 is 7. 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. 8 plus 1 plus 6 plus 15 equals 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. And I'm getting these numbers directly from here. Then you come down to 4 plus 3 plus 8 equals 15 equals 6. And so on and so forth. So the 4 here, 9 and 2. The 4 and 2. 4 and 2. Sorry, 4, 9 and 2 right here. 4, 5 and 2. 4, 5 and 6, that's the diagonal. 4, 5 and 6, the diagonal is 6. 4 plus 5 and 6 equals 15 equals 6. The other diagonal, 2, 5 and 6 is 6, because 2 plus 5 plus 8 equals 15, which is equal to 6. That's the downward 6. The descent. That is the descent. The downward pointing triangle. Again, these are the groupings, right? So when you look at this, it follows this natural pattern. 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3. This one down here. 1, 2. Oh, you can't see it. Here you can. 1, 2, 3. There it is. 1, 2, 3. This one down here, just off. You can't start with the 4 because it doesn't give you the natural sequential pattern. This is the Saturn's cube. So let's go back up to the natural ones. But first, let me say something. There's nothing going on with Saturn that's wrong. Saturn is just a planet. It's just a planet. Probably has beings living on it. Probably has certain energies. But when it's being used in a certain way to bring sigil magic and to put in the border certain energies and keeping people in material world with masculine numbers surrounding the feminine numbers, as in to stranglehold them, there's an issue here. That's an imbalance in nature. Nature wants to do this, where from the groupings I already showed you, put 9 at the center. Put the divine at the center of the cube. All the sides will come to 3. 1 plus 4 plus 7 equals 12, which is 3. 3, 9, 6 is 9. 3 plus 9 plus 6 is 18, which is 9. 2, 5, 8 is 6. 2 plus 5 plus 8 is 15, which is 6. This is beautiful, right? This is beautiful. And then even if you go down the row, it's still 6, 9, 3, right? And that's over here. This is going down the row. 1 plus 3 plus 2 is 6. The next one, 4 plus 9 plus 5 is 18, which is 9. That's a 4. Sorry, it's kind of messy. It's a 4. Then the next column, 7 plus 6 plus 8 is 21, which is a 3. This is beautiful. This is completely ascending, right? And obviously I can't spell ascending here, but it's okay. Again, with the feminine numbers being 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Beautiful. It's just arranged perfectly. Okay. And then, so that would be the sigil. If you expected yourself to be in a society that was all about ascension, you would think that they were going to use this kind of magic square, which is actually a circle. All right. And now let's go to another natural or beneficial square. I don't know what we're going to call that. But again, the natural ordering, which we grouped by 3, by counting. Start at the 1, 1, 2, 3, you get to 4. 1, 2, 3, you get to the 7. That's the natural grouping. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oopsie, 1, 2, 3, you get a 5. 1, 2, 3, you get an 8. An 8. Start at the 3, 1, 2, 3, you get a 6. Checks. 1, 2, 3, you get a 9. It checks. Okay. So then we move here to this one we're calling natural. We can call it whatever. I don't know if it has a name. But then we start here looking at it. 1, 4, 7. 1 plus 4 plus 7 is 12 is 3. 2 plus 5 plus 8. Oops, here. 2 plus 5 plus 8 is 15, 6. Right? Because 1 plus 5 is 6. And 3 plus 6 plus 9 is 18, which 1 plus 8 is 9. Right? Okay. So then when you look at this one's still good because this is showing balance because it has a 6, a 6, a 6, which is the body, right? Which is the downward. Then you have the 3, 6, 9. Isn't that lovely? That's so lovely. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. So now I'm showing how you take this circle and the flow of numbers that's doubled to show the flow of energy to the double cube or the the vortex, the one single vortex which is represented as a double cube. Okay. So how does that flow work, right? We're doubling. So we're going to go 1 to 2, 4 to 8 to 7 to 5, back to 1, right? Okay. So we go this direction from 1 to 2. From 2, we're now at a masculine number. We're going to flow to the 4. We didn't interrupt this 3. This 3, we didn't stop at it because it's not part of it. Remember, 3, 6, 9 is not part of this flow. So then we go to the 4. From the 4, we pass the 6 to the 8. From the 8, we go directly to the 7, right? And from the 7, we go to the 5. From the 5, we pass this and go to the 1, and we've completed a cycle. And so that cycle looks like 1 to the 2, 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8, 8 to the 7, back to the 5, back to the 1. And that is this in motion on a cube. And so what does that tell us? Because it seems kind of boring, right? But it isn't. It's telling us energy in motion in a natural sequence, bypassing the 3 and the 6 and the 9. This is wrong. This is the Saturn cube, and it's off. It's throwing our energy off and interrupting our flow. And what do I mean by it's off? Well, to me, it's like a sleight of hand or being one step off the beat. It's like having all the numbers, having all of the available numbers, but then being in a disarray or in inappropriate sequence. Therefore, it won't work. Like the energy just won't flow. Again, these numbers do represent principalities or planetary intelligences. And so don't they need to be ordered in a certain sequence, right? In order for them to flow correctly. Otherwise, we'd be on some sort of energetic wobble, you know, and it would encode maybe a circle instead of a spiral. It's kind of like cutting a steak with a butter knife. And so this is just the feeling I get from this, that because we're on, and everything is encoded with a cube, or everything is encoded with these numbers out of sequence, that this is the program running. And once we realize that, we can adjust our own frequency. We can adjust to the solfeggios and realize that there's more than one scale for listening to music, to playing music. We don't have to stick with any program. We are free and liberated to use our own energy however we wish. The other thing that makes it off to me is that it's like it's not telling us that we are free energy. Our energy is generating perpetually, almost, well, actually in negation of the first law of thermodynamics, where you have to get an input. We are the input and the output in perpetual motion. That's what the 3 and 6 is doing, is perpetuating energy back and forth. We're like an ever ready battery forever. And so from there, I feel like if we are built with free energy, if that is what we are, then we don't need any external energy. We just need to know how to use what we are. Use our internal technology to generate light, power, everything. And I think that is one of the biggest secrets to this, and why being off just a little bit by a few numbers out of sequence has been the program. Even if you check back to ancient books, that's been the way it's been run. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day or night.